My name is Lucy, and the appliance I had been eyeing went on sale the previous day, so I jumped at the chance, but then a new model of the same brand came out. I'm 35 years old, and every time I use it, I become frustrated. I suppose there's always a catch to every good deal. Oh yes, in that regard my own history is a prime illustration. Please bear with me. When I was about 18, I graduated from medical school and found work. I was finally on my own, despite the fact that I was only a doctor in training, or more accurately, a chicklet of a doctor. Julian, who was my age, had dealt with my tension during my studies and had patiently listened to my complaints and challenges at work for a long period of time. Julian and I did not attend the same institution, but we met through a common friend and had been dating since high school, so we had never considered our future. We'd already been living together and married as soon as I received my doctorate. It all proceeded smoothly, but after a few years of marriage, I began to wonder if my choice of partner had been a mistake. I was present at the moment. My life had been stressful since becoming a doctor, and I had been working day and night. That day as well, I was exhausted after a night shift and simply wanted to crawl into bed. When I cautiously opened the front door, I thought yuck and was fed up. The space was completely disorganized. Julian was the one. He threw all of his clothing on the floor and never washed them, not even in the laundry room. I need to start gathering after Julian's trail when I come home. He hadn't even washed up the dirty dishes from the night before and breakfast. Despite the fact that he was alone, there were 3 glasses in the sink. He just uses a glass once and then replaces it throughout the day, causing the mess. I wish he could use one plate for all of his food instead of one for each dish. The utilization will inevitably rise. It was my morning ritual to clean up Julian's massive mess from my night shift. Julian worked for a staffing firm. His job was mostly office work, so he could leave on time every day. He leaves for work near our house at 8 a.m. He had a lot more spare time than me, yet he never assisted with housekeeping, which was driving me crazy. My day off had arrived. Julian was also absent, which was unusual. I was relieved to see him after such a long time. But I understood it was just wishful thinking. Julian said, "Oh my God." I hurried to his side and inquired, "What's the matter?" "Nothing. I simply assumed the light bulb was out." The abrupt ending startled me. I'm sorry." "Okay, I'm pleased it was nothing." I was relieved and about to leave. "You changed the light bulb at that point. Please move aside. I'm going to watch a show." "Huh?" He didn't even notice my annoyance and hummed back to the living room. "No way. You were the one who turned off the light. You must change it." I was deflated on the inside, but I didn't want to dispute our day off. Conflicts sap our vitality and lead to negativity. Whatever. I changed the light bulb, feeling a little sarcastic. However, our days off together have frequently caused problems since then. I realized it wasn't on purpose. I was just unlucky. When he came out of the bathroom and shouted, "It's clogged. Please suck it out." I can't do it. I knew he was serious. After that, I seriously considered striking him. He invited his 6 coworkers to the house without my permission and forced me to cook for them. It was also my day off, yet I couldn't even drink a beer. It was vexing that I couldn't do much but cook and serve all day after seeing them off. "Is the bathtub full?" he inquired. Anyone would be offended by this, in my opinion. It was a slave's responsibility, not a wife's, to put up with him. I even questioned why I should remain silent. As a result, I vented all of my anger at him. "I've been thinking for a while that you should accept responsibility for things you can do on your own as well as your faults. You took the liberty of inviting your colleagues and putting all of the responsibility on me, and you're still asking me to do this and that. I'm only a human. I don't have several arms like Hindu gods." Then he asked, "What's with the attitude? My wife is you. It's your responsibility to do the chores," he said before locking himself in his room. I thought, you're not taking a bath after all, but I didn't want John to take it for granted, so I filled the tub for myself and then drained it. He took a shower later that night. Before marriage, he was kind. He willingly assisted with everything. He was a trustworthy individual. How did he get to be this way? Masculinity in the 1940s. In the 1940s, society expected women to perform all of the housework. Such dated thinking, it was completely foreign to me. He insisted on sitting down the next morning, in our living room, in a chair. I sat down as instructed. "I believe you don't value me enough." "Huh?" Despite my efforts to understand him, he went on as if nothing had happened. My female coworker advised me that I should be grateful merely to have a husband. Taking out the garbage, cooking a dinner, or cleaning the house for sissy men, it was an act of not believing in your wife's abilities. He did all of that before we got married. It went on for a while after the marriage. It's not just not sissy, but it's also a fantastic thing to do as a spouse. Anyone would probably agree. Someone with ancient ideals had rubbed off useless things on my spouse. Your Highness went on. That's why I behaved like a man. And, as the husband I should be, I put all the housework in your capable hands. You should not let the opinions of others influence you. Shouldn't you first consult with me? Just shut up and listen. Should I be quiet? He told me to be quiet. I clutched my right hand rashly. I would have beaten the heck out of him if there was no legislation in this nation. I'm going to design a plan so you can enjoy me more. Arrangement? I was thinking, huh? What on earth is he talking about? I was surprised. That's correct. First and foremost, you should be aware that I am the head of the household. You will give me all of your savings in exchange for an allowance. You'll have more respect for me as a result. Also, on our days off, you must get up before me and prepare a comfortable living place by cleaning and cooking, and then please be silent. That's all there is to it. I'm not going to listen to you. Wow, I actually said it. I knew I should have been more composed, but I was simply being honest. Besides, did this guy comprehend what an arrangement meant? What exactly did you say? You intend to divorce? I'll divorce you if you can't agree with me. With a smirk, he said he believed he could threaten me. That's too bad. If he was worth it, that is. I didn't want a husband who threatened me with ridiculous terms. I responded right away. We should proceed with the divorce. If I agree to those terms, I'm sure he'll ultimately remark, warm up my car before I leave. I'm not a serf. It's not you who are the master, it's me. You antiquated, delusional, son of a gun, boss about once you get president. What? Are you sure? So easily making a decision on such a significant topic. The person who had threatened divorce was now in a state of terror. I suppose he wasn't serious, but it was all luck for me. I did, in fact, fall out of love all at once. Let's get a divorce. You, what would you do if I immediately remarried? Nothing. Do you think I'll be sorry? You are nothing more than a stranger, so go ahead and do anything you want. Maybe I'll wish you well. You have no heart. Indeed, I've come from a heartless nation to propagate heartlessness. We agreed to divorce in this immature manner despite our idiotic conversation. After 3 months, I had sold the property and was living alone in an apartment near my workplace when Julian showed up unexpectedly. He knew I had relocated after the house was sold, but I hadn't given him my new address. I found it creepy and responded, "What do you want?" Over the intercom. "Please let me in, because I need to speak with you." No. My ex-husband's request disturbed me, but he appeared distressed, so I let him in for the time being. Despite my concerns about getting assaulted, I believe everything will be fine because security is in place. In such a circumstance, I could use my judo talent from high school. I'll bite. I can throw him as hard as I can over my shoulder. That's what I was thinking, but his posture was slouched and weary, as if he had no energy to attack. His appearance took me aback. What? What's going on? No. What's the problem? I inquired. I married again. In my brain, I assumed he came to brag about his remarriage, and I said, well, get out. I restrained myself from saying it aloud. That's fantastic. And what does the happiest man desire from me? I'm not pleased. Huh? Canceling due to wedding jitters? I'm a doctor, and psychology is a very separate profession. As a result of my profession, I checked around his eyes, skin tone, and the dryness of his lips on the spur of the moment. Looking closer, he appeared to be skinnier. My wife is lovely, and when I told her about our divorce, she remarked, "It's the wife's fault. She is a woman who validates everything about me. She even says I can't do any chores. I assumed she'd accept me for who I am." So did you come here to gloat about your wife and whine about our history? If that's the case, get out. I gave a visibly angry expression for allowing a difficult man in. No, that isn't it. Then speak up. I shoved him since this conversation was so unpleasant. Her cooking is revolting. His unexpected admission made me laugh out loud. Is her cooking revolting? How? When I asked, he went into great detail. She combined steamed rice, strawberries, chocolate, and butter, then topped with ketchup and olive oil. His oddly imaginative breakfast food was this organized paella with fried rice. Salted grilled fish, burned and crumbled all over the grill, transformed into organized fish flakes with bones. The chef transformed it into organized fish flakes with bones. Then there came the mystery meal of kneaded sausage and rice fried medium rare and covered with molasses. Not only was her cooking terrible, but she also had no sense of money and bought pricey Wagyu just because it was on sale. She purchased a number of similar cleaning gadgets and appliances. She washed garments that couldn't be machine washed. Upon noticing this, he discovered that most of his favorite garments had shrunk and were no longer worn. It was astonishing to learn that he had remarried in 3 months, but it was even more distressing to learn of the destruction he had inflicted in 3 months. First and foremost, she must have enticed him and converted him into a controlling husband. He got what he deserved. After all, I thought it was much better to do it myself, so I told her I'd take over the housework, but she replied that it wasn't for a man. She is steadfast. When I'm eating conventional food, my mind wanders to her cooking, and I lose my appetite. I'm beginning to appreciate you. I was not grateful for the compliments, but I remained mute. He then jumped out of his chair and grabbed my arms. Oh no, exactly as I predicted. I positioned myself at an angle to avoid his attack, but he gazed at me with begging eyes and whispered, "Please, I want to be with you again." His unexpected blast made me cringe. Is he proposing something? Or does he want to substitute my cooking for his wife's food? I grinned at him as I came up with an idea. It had to have been difficult. He shook his head. You understand. It seemed like he was saved. Of course, I was thinking about you after the divorce. Lucy, you kept popping into my head, even at work. Since our divorce, I've had a lot of thoughts. I smiled a little soberly. Julian said, it was my fault. And then he apologized. Now you know how much I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I will not repeat the same errors. Please give me the opportunity. Chance. The rhythm and energy told me what he was about to say. I feigned to be unconcerned. I still have feelings for you. I'm pleased to hear you share my sentiments. I'm sure you're worried, but I'll do my best. Spend another wonderful future with me. I'd like to see us together again. I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend. What? I stopped him off before he could finish by saying I have a partner and declining. I wanted to inquire where the sound came from because he made a stupid, absent-minded whimper. When I mentioned that I was divorced, my young colleague approached me and didn't go on to the next love. I contemplated it, but at the time I was single, and he is quite attractive, so we are currently together. Huh? But you mentioned that you were thinking of me. Right, I was thinking that it would be difficult for you to marry again, and that it would be amusing if you had a flaw. So sure, I was thinking along those lines. I couldn't believe you were married that quickly. Huh? He stared down, dumbfounded, and couldn't help but repeat, huh? His amusing appearance was as if he were a new creature. I'd call it hadumsaurus, but you had a lot of thoughts, didn't you? But what exactly were they? That's right. I believed it was appropriate for us to divorce. That was the genuine you. I found a new boyfriend. Then I thought everything would fall into place at the end. You fell for it since it sounded a little flirty. To my unequivocal response, he answered, "You're kidding," and he collapsed to the floor like a deflated balloon. Thank you for the sexy proposal, haha. Sorry, it appears that I am popular. So what should I do now? Huh? I'm not sure. You could have helped out with chores when you were married to me, but you didn't. It's the same thing. Your wife who hates housework but does everything for you. You two are a fantastic combination. As I congratulated him, I couldn't stop laughing and burst out laughing. I can't take it any longer. Why can't you assist me? What an unbalanced request. Are you paying attention? I have a boyfriend, so I'm not going to assist you. However, if you give all of your savings to your future wife and praise her as the best, even if you divorce your existing wife, someone new may be drawn to you. I drew him up after saying that much. So get out, get out. And I evicted the stunned Julian from my flat. When he returned to reality, I heard him knock on the door many times. I continued to ignore him until he departed. I never heard from him again after that. I remarried after divorcing my bad-cooking wife. Just a braggart. Sure of anything. Whatever. I remained silent until he contacted me again. My present wife is a slacker who enjoys keeping the house dirty. I was informed of this. It had nothing to do with having a great marriage, but he had no sense of judging people. I was about to recommend that he write an essay about his previous marriages. Instead, I responded, I remarried with my boyfriend, and included a snapshot of our joyous wedding. It worked, and I haven't heard from him since. It was interesting to see his demise, and I miss hearing about his amusing life, but I am pleased to have effectively severed relations. My final vengeance was to send our wedding photo. My husband and I have since had a daughter, and she looks precisely like him and is beyond lovely. I already worry about her meeting a horrible boy and cry when I see her in a wedding gown. I informed my husband. He burst out laughing. That is the emotion of a father. My present husband helps out around the house. I'm on maternity leave and haven't worked a night shift in a while, but he never allowed me to perform a chore after a night shift when I was working. Don't underestimate the night shift if I even try to go out and take trash out. Doctors prioritize their patients' health. Take a break, he screamed. Not only am I fortunate to be doing the same job as him, but I am also grateful to have such a husband. Force cannot build a comfortable living space. Our emotions make up the force. From now on, while our family lies alongside us in the beautiful living room, my adorable daughter and my handsome husband will support each other and live our finest lives.